Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Erik Voss, and Rick and Morty Season 4 has consistently shown one commonality among its 3 episodes thus far: a real salty turn for Morty. Even before the season began, many of us have been theorizing that the Morty we've been following could gradually be transforming into evil Morty, and 401, 402, 403 all appear to be following that darkest timeline. In this week's episode of Ricksplained, since we all have a week off from new episodes, I'm going to look back at the ways these past 3 episodes have shown a dark shift for Morty, with some evidence more subtle than other pieces of evidence that could be setting up the rise of evil Morty. And joining us later this episode will be some special guests to discuss this season so far. While I would argue that this whole series has been a slow downward slide for Morty into a pit of cynicism and nihilism, like the kind expressed constantly by Rick, these past 3 episodes have definitely knocked that transition into 12th gear. In the Season 4 premiere, Morty uses the death crystals to glimpse at various possible futures through a kaleidoscopic lens, each one horrible and violent, but one, just one, is peaceful and loving, with elderly Jessica at his bedside. Morty, without hesitation, gives up his soul to pursue that destiny. He kills his grandpa, he refuses to resurrect him, he beats up some bullies that are still missing, he tears police and armies into pieces, and turns himself into a Tetsuo-style blob. But in a depressing twist in the post-credit scene, that one hopeful future is revealed to be a lie.
I want to work in hospice. I want to comfort the people who are dying, who have no one else in their lives. The real lonely people. I'm gonna look at their name tags and I'm gonna say, "I love you," followed by whatever it says on their name tag, over and over.
What the f***?
Morty slams his locker in anger, and if you look at the inside of that locker, it's his photo of Jessica. He gives up. He's done trying. He knows there's no happy ending for him. Episode 2 is more of a Rick episode dealing with his loneliness, but in the B story of that episode, Morty accompanies his father, Jerry, as he tries to launch a dating app with Gluty, and Morty delivers to his father's face a very savage line.
Dad, I want to say something. I started today disgusted and embarrassed to be your son, and then later I thought we were gonna die because you're a loser.
There's no more, is
Nope.
there?
Now quit f***ing up and let's go.
Damn. Okay, I mean, Morty obviously lost respect for his father long before this, but at least he would try to show him respect to his face. Now he talks to him with the cruel honesty, exactly like Rick would.
I think a blind man could see that Beth is looking for the door. I barely have a reason to care, and even I notice.
Come on, Rick. Don't talk about my parents like that.
That defensive, idealistic Morty from Season 1? Gone. And that brings us to Episode 3, in which Morty's latest project, his dreams of becoming a Hollywood screenwriter, gets shattered when Rick incepts the idea in his mind that heist movies are lame. As he pitches his movie to Netflix, he can actually pinpoint the second when his heart rips in half.
And now.
Morty is seen from the bottom of his water bottle, drowning in his own fatalistic outlook. In the final scene, Morty's engaged in the pointless exercise of a Rubik's Cube. Well, pointless depending on who you ask. But it is the one kind of twist that he now considers worthwhile. Dark storm clouds form on the horizon, which is interesting because it matches the storm clouds that formed over Rick in the previous episode. What does this tell us about Morty's state of mind? What does it tell us about the darkness in store for him? Could he be headed to a fate in which he uses an eye patch sometimes to control a Rick drone? I wouldn't say Morty would be capable of that in Season 1, but I could definitely see it now. For this Morty to be the same evil Morty we've seen thus far, it wouldn't really require time travel because that is something that the writers have always avoided. Some multiverse timelines are farther along than others, like how the Citadel contained that older veteran Morty cop, and in the pilot, Rick did hop to a future where medicine existed that could instantaneously fix Morty's legs. It's also possible that all Mortys and all realities exist on arcs that inevitably lead them to become evil Mortys due to exposure to their Ricks. Next week, Episode 4 is titled Claw and Hoarder Special Rickdoms Morty, a play on Law & Order SVU, but the promo for the episode showed Rick entering a fantasy quest involving a dragon.
And that's the end of the Morty Gets a Dragon episode.
Are you gonna slay it?
First off, I always slay it, Queen. Secondly, yes. Oh, if only I had prepared better for this terrifying battle by remembering the only thing dragons are known for.
This dragon seems like a take on Smaug from The Hobbit. Now, we haven't seen many fantasy tropes and sorcerer jokes in Rick and Morty, but it is something that Dan Harmon has always been into with his D&D animated series Harmon Quest. If D&D is an inspiration for this episode, I'll be very curious to see if alignment comes up. Alignment refers to the categories of a character's morality on scales of good versus evil and lawful versus chaotic. I've seen a number of fan-made Rick and Morty alignment charts over the years. Most place Rick somewhere around chaotic neutral and chaotic evil, meaning he's completely anti-law, anti-regulation of any kind. but it's not clear whether he's immoral or amoral. Meanwhile, Morty has been a big rule follower, but it's up for debate whether he's lawful good or lawful neutral, and evil Morty is definitely lawful evil. So how far has our Morty slid down that lawful column? Well, we'll discuss Morty's moral alignment in season 4 with some special guests after a quick message from our sponsors.
Hey guys, have you ever tried to buy cologne for yourself and you're so lost and stinky that the department store Santa tackles you and rubs candy canes on your armpits? It's a very real scenario and you should be fearful of it. Smelling good is important, and that's why I love Hawthorne. Instead of smelling a bunch of scents and frying your nostrils, Hawthorne has you take a short quiz about your lifestyle and preferences, whatever weird way you live your life, and then they send you 2 scents, one for work, one for play. I love this handy quiz. It's got a scale for BO that goes from no BO to painful BO. Painful is the operative word because when those candy canes crack, they turn into shivs. They also have deodorant, shampoo, and body wash. I personally love the body wash they sent me. The bottle just says body wash, very literal for a dummy like me, because showers make me stupid. But now, thanks to Hawthorne, showers make me smell a lot better too. The whole quiz process is easy and so convenient, and best of all, it's totally risk-free with free shipping and free returns. Check out Hawthorne yourself at hawthorne.co. That's Hawthorne with an E. Use my promo code RICK to get 10% off your first purchase. That's HAWTHORNE.co, and use my code RICK to get 10% off your purchase. Hawthorne.co. This episode of Ricksplained was also brought to you by Helix Sleep. Sometimes when I'm up late going frame by frame through the corrosion of Morty's conscience, I forget that horizontal sleep is something human beings need to recharge. A Helix mattress is exactly what I need to get that restful slumber so I don't turn into a zombie and murder all of you. Just go to helixsleep.com/Ricksplained, take their 2-minute sleep quiz, and they'll match you to a customized mattress that will give you the best sleep of your life. Whether you're a side sleeper, hot sleeper, if you like a plush or firm bed, with Helix, there's no more confusion and no more compromising on an average mattress. Helix Sleep was awarded the #1 best overall mattress pick of 2019 by GQ and Wired magazine. They have a 10-year warranty, and you get to try it out for 100 nights risk-free. They'll even pick it up for you if you don't love it, but you will love it. Helix is offering up to $200 off all mattress orders for our listeners at helixsleep.com/Ricksplained. That's Helix, HELIX, sleep.com/Ricksplained for up to $200 off.
And we are back, and to talk about this season of Rick and Morty, the first 3 episodes so far as we're in this break week, we have some wonderful guests here joining us. Recurring voice actor on the show, ECHO KELLUM. Thank you for joining us.
Thank
Great.
you.
And Tommy Bechtold's back for more.
Yeah.
Hello. Always thirsty.
I'm A. I'm back.
Well, Echo, we've heard your voice since season 1. You voiced Brad, that's Jessica's ex-boyfriend. You voiced Jacob, who is the Jerry's parents' caretaker?
Yeah, caretaker/lover.
Lover.
Yeah, let's get right into that. Yeah.
And then this season, season 4, we've heard your voice in the Love Finders episode. You did assorted voices of different people who were getting randomly paired.
Yes.
I'm curious because we've never had like a voice actor on the show here before to kind of explain that process.
Yeah.
What is it like being brought into the show? Like, just kind of walk us through the process behind the scenes.
So originally, I got the audition from my voiceover agent, and then I went in and we recorded it, and then we sent it out. And usually, you do so many of those, and you just never hear anything back. Like, just going, like, put it out. And then they really liked my read for it. So then I got called in, and I met Justin Roiland, who's amazing. And we messed around with voices a little bit and stuff like that. And him and I just like gelled so just like instantly. And then they called me and was like, we want you to play these couple roles in the show. And so then with that, basically, I would come in to Starburns Industries, and then they would put me in the sound booth. We talk about the character a little bit. He might have some animatics, just very early rough sketches of them and whatnot. And they read with you the other lines, and then you read with them, and they record it. And so sometimes it takes a couple different takes, 4 or 5 takes, and sometimes they'll have you read a line and then repeat it 3 times and just do it a couple different ways to give them just options and things like that. And then you get it, and then they lock it hopefully, and then it gets seen on TV. They do all animating.
It's interesting to hear that they're like reading with you, because a lot of times in voiceover, you are just alone in a booth with an engineer.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you were saying before that Justin's super hands-on.
Justin is there for every facet, every moment. Like, he is super hands-on. So it's usually him that you're working with in every capacity. I mean, he's like there morning, noon, and night, just like giving his all to the show. And
Yeah.
so he's the one who's usually reading with you too. So it's like you actually have Rick and Morty like right there.
Sure,
and he's
yeah.
doing other characters, and he's like so talented as a voiceover actor
Yeah.
too. It's like really cool just that he's like very talented, but also one of the most humble, kind people I've ever met. Like it just welcoming, open, just like such a great guy, you know.
It's
And
crazy
so-
that like he voices the two main characters and like several other characters.
Yeah.
You have like basically the whole world of the show in the room with you
Yeah,
right there.
for
Compare
sure.
that to like The Simpsons, like a lot of those actors live in completely different cities.
100%.
And they just mail in.
So he's like the Matt Groening,
Yeah,
and he's like
the Seth MacFarlane of the show.
like
Yeah, all that.
Homer, and you know what I'm saying, Bart. You know what I'm saying? In a lot of ways, you know, it's really a testament to his love of the show, his work ethic, and just you know how passionate he is about it. You know, and that it definitely bleeds over into I think everything else that goes on with it. All the other actors, like we all want to give like our best, funniest takes and just like give as much as he does, even a slither or iota of what he gives. And you know, I think that's what makes the show as great as it is.
Yeah, we all met doing improv in the LA Comics.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
And I'm curious, like, on some shows, they want you to stick very close to the script. When you're in the booth, how much do they let you ad-lib or improvise with the lines?
It just depends on the specific lines. You know, sometimes some of the lines have to track with the story or whatnot, but I think generally they let you play around after you get it. Like they let you play around, add a little bit more if you can or if you want. If there's a trust there too, you know what I'm saying? Knowing that it's not going off into some crazy tangent or whatnot.
Yeah.
I think you have to be surgical about the improv you add into episodic television. And I usually have been like surgical when I try to add things. I try to add things to complement the writing, not to detract from the writing. So I think once you build that type of rapport, they just let you play. But he's very much like, he is an artist producer, an artist director. You know, he definitely trusts the artists that he works with, and he loves to get out as much from them as much as he puts in too. So
when you say surgical, when you're going to record, do you have any kind of concept of what it's going to visually look like, or is it easier to not know that because that way you will feel free to add in a thing or two, knowing that it's not cutting to a different frame or a different scenario?
Right. See, if they're already kind of deeper into the animatics of it, then you know you're kind of in a more structured bubble of what you can use. But if it's pretty early on, you do have that freedom to like play with it more, and they'll build around your ad-libs and whatnot too. They'll like make the words make sense and build the animation to progress that out if it's a longer, you know, ad-lib or whatnot. So it definitely depends on stages for sure. Sometimes, but you know, sometimes they have you come in to pick up a part that they missed that would help the story flow better with the character. And so you just have to be amenable and kind of adjust on the fly with them and just, you know, go in and just rock it out.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Do you have any like specific ad libs that you remember throwing in there, even if they didn't make the episode?
Oh man, that's so tough. You know, because like even the stuff that people are hearing now in season 4, like I maybe shot that like 8 months ago or like something. Like, it's just
It's tough to remember.
It's a while ago.
It is tough. Like, and then like all my earlier stuff was years ago. Obviously,
Sure,
it's
yeah,
really tough to think about a specific. Where I'm like, what did I add in there? I need to watch it more. Like,
Yeah, I
rewatch
love
it
the
more.
line, I quit, I'm gay, and I love Xander. It's just such a great, like...
That was definitely written. I wish I had lived that. That's so funny.
But I would say the cadence of it though is what really because the words are funny. The way it's listed off as a to-do list, though, where it's like, okay, first thing
had
I
the
quit,
speech,
second thing I'm gay, and third I love Xander.
Xander.
It's also matter of fact. I mean,
Yeah.
I think we watched that episode together,
Yeah.
Erik and I, and that part was definitely a highlight.
I quit, I'm gay, and I love Xander.
I think that's really, like, it just shows you how great of a director Justin is, you know, with all this, like, the things that he can get out of the actors, you know, the different ways. Like, he always has such amazing ideas. Like, say it like this, or what if you say it with this type of emotion? Or what if you, like, he just really plays with you in there. And I think that's, once again, it's a testament to why the show is as amazing as it is.
Yeah.
So many good performances. Yeah.
I wonder if it's interesting the parallels between early seasons of Family Guy where Seth MacFarlane was really kind of, the way you're describing Justin seems to be the stories of how he was, where he was super hands-on, it was totally his baby, and he kind of willed it from its original incarnation and then cancellation and then brought back. It was kind of a labor of love. And the quality of the show, it seems like people really adore those first seasons. And Rick and Morty is one of those things where the fanship is so strong and so passionate. And I wonder if it's because there's the authentic drive of a creator like Justin that's just like, every part of him is going. It's all over the show. It bleeds all over. You can't. There's no. I mean, obviously, there's Dan Harmon's genius as well, but it's like, but it's like that show has his fingerprints on almost every aspect.
Oh, absolutely. And Dan Harmon's definitely a big part of that too. You know, I mean, he obviously is I think one of the comedic geniuses of our time. Community is one of my favorite shows ever. I mean, he did this show on VH1 years ago. Him and Justin called Acceptable TV that I would watch over and over again. When it canceled, I almost cried because I was like, no, it's too good. And it's kind of like a spin-off of their kind of Channel 101 series that they do here in LA. Yeah. It was so phenomenal. So even when I got the opportunity to finally work with Justin, like I was already huge fans of theirs, you know, so it was like so dope that he thought I was funny too. And was like, I'm a fan of yours, I want to work with you. But you know, I think them together, like Justin obviously being hands-on and being like in the trenches every single day, definitely makes the show freaking amazing. Having Dan's comedic genius and aspects behind all the writing and what's going on with it definitely makes it amazing. Them together, it's like a super team, you know? And so they really are each other's, I feel, yin and yang, especially when it comes to just creating this really brilliant material that we all get the pleasure to get to share in.
Yeah, on this show, we've kind of speculated how, like, there's definitely a parallel between Justin and Dan's relationship and Rick and Morty's relationship. Like, there is, like, a perfect partnership there that creates this thing that should not exist, but because, like, they perfectly complement each other, we now have this wonderful thing that we get to enjoy. And you were joking before we started recording how, like, is it Rick and Morty or is it Morty and Rick? And like in the earlier part of this episode, when no one was here, I was by myself, I kind of went in my theory that like these 3 episodes of season 4, we're starting to see the decline of Morty's morality, and he is becoming more Rick-like, and there is less of a distinction between them. They're both just kind of like Justin's cynical voice through the lens of these characters. Do you think that like by the end of the show, we might be headed in a direction where they could reverse the names?
And Morty's the more
Rick, and Rick's more the Morty.
Absolutely. I mean, the thing about this show is I think anything is possible. Like literally the characters killed themselves and came back. You know what I'm saying? Like
several times.
You never know what's gonna happen. So I definitely can see a world where Morty can be that kind of negative influence on Rick, and kind of those juxtapositions can definitely switch. I mean, I think that definitely this season feels like it's going to that trajectory, but so I think it's 100% possible.
It's probably just a matter of when and not if.
100%, yeah.
It's and I think that's one way, because there is a precious, sacred balance to that, and I don't want like, because the characters do have to evolve over the course of a series. People change. That's what makes them interesting to watch. But like, I don't want them both to be cynical or both them to be too idealistic. If there is going to be a status shift, I hope they both shift in the opposite ways.
I agree too.
But we'll see. Well, thanks so much for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me on a chat.
Like, this is so great to have you on and to catch up and see everything that you're doing. Do you have anything you want to shout out that you want to get us to pay attention to?
I want to shout out? I do have music that I'm going to be releasing in the new year, so I'm really excited about that. I will have links and everything on my Instagram, Echo Kells, or Twitter at Echo K. That's all I want to plug right now.
Yeah,
for sure.
Tommy, you get to pitch nothing.
Okay, please
sense.
Don't seek me out anywhere.
Don't find him, because he'll find you.
You don't want to look at my internet presence. It's not good. It's sad there.
Well, thanks so much for joining us in this episode of Ricksplained. We'll be back next week to break down episode 4. As always, we're also doing like the Easter egg breakdowns of every episode. You can find us at New Rockstars on all social media and on YouTube. And make sure to subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts at Ricksplained to get us higher in those charts. Attention must be paid. We're doing good work here. I'm proud of us. We're a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes too to make this happen. So thanks again for joining us. And let's close out with a highlight reel of some of Echo's great vocal work on the show.
I throw balls far. You want good words? Data languager. Jerry, this hem has got to be all you, right? It's incredible.
Look, I'm half Abraham Lincoln, so...
So, I should get on my knees and kiss your ass.
Well, no, but... you know.
What do I know? That the Third Reich will reign for 1,000 years?
Leave him alone, Brad.
Stay out of this, Jessica!
Kick his ass, Brad! Kick his ass! Kick his ass! Kick his ass!